let's talk about reprogramming the mind, reprogramming the mind. And you hear it every time. You hear it every time you talk to a guru about, oh, you can change your mind, you can change your mind, you can change your mind. And that's the only superpower. Okay, it's not the only superpower that human beings have, but I think the biggest superpower that people have. I like to see I like it when I see older people running. Like literally somebody has gray hair and they're running. I just love to see that because it's the hate of reprogramming the mind. That's how we do it. With small little actions. Small little actions, change the mind. I wish there was a faster way for the human brain to learn, but our brains, they can learn a lot, but the thing is, when we have children, they have to start from scratch. Which is kind of hard. Oh, Shy. I think Shy is still. Shy went to what do you call it? I know she was traveling this weekend to New York. I know she was traveling to New York. You miss her. I'll let her know that you miss her. Today I wanted us to talk about reprogramming the mind because it's a superpower, and we know that we have superpowers because we know we can learn. A human brain's ability to learn is. Hi, Ayan. Right now I'm in California. Today I wanted us to talk about the superpower, how to change your mind, because you hear a lot of scientists and neuroscientists these days talk about the reality that we can change our brain. I'm Kenyan. I'm from Kenya. The fact is that we can change our brain. We can change them. We can change our mind. And the way we change our mind is the way we change our lives. So a car brand or an edit? I drive a Honda, so I guess. Honda. Today I wanted us to talk about reprogramming the mind, changing the mind, because post-traumatic. I talk about post-traumatic bliss, like achieving that level where you come from trauma, you grow, you thrive, and then obviously you achieve that level of growth. But it's not just thriving and growth. You achieve. Tazi, bye. Deuces, peace. Have a wonderful day. Yeah, how you can achieve like a new mind. Let's say you come from a traumatic past. How do you go ahead and achieve a new mind? Yeah, the key, yeah, exactly. I like what Tane is saying. The key is to focus on happiness, right? And peace. And when you focus on that, you create that kind of a life that is happy and peaceful, because our attention and what we focus on is the most important asset that we have, just our ability to focus. You think about like people who create new habits in their life, like working out, so that they can obviously like have a body that is calm just by working out, because working out you release a lot of stressful hormones like adrenaline and cortisol just by working out. And so when they get to this habit of always resetting their body from stress to homeostasis to create balance, that really helps. Tene is saying, the one most important thing I learned in life is to only focus on what I can control. That is the only way to achieve everything. Focus. I like the word. I like the fact that you use the word focus, because our brain changes by what we focus on. When we focus on something and we repeat it, like Tene is saying, we grow through repetition. Like we learn through repetition. So if you focus on the things that you want to create in life, like let's say you want to create a healthy, peaceful body, you start focusing on your workout routine, working out, learning about working out, you will create a strong, healthy body. If you focus on like learning about the foods that you want to eat, you'll end up creating that. And that's the only way out of a traumatic past. If you focus on the good, you keep kind of focusing on the good, instead of remembering what happened that you didn't like, the experiences that were hurtful, the people who said the things that you didn't want to hear. If you just decide like, I'm going to move towards a positive psychology, that's how you change your mind. You reprogram, you bring in a new program, you start learning about how do I create more honest friends. How do you become honest, you attract more honest friends, you know. Tene saying, I watch many motivational videos and I read motivational quotes. That is why I am trying to change my mindset and to be resilient. Yeah, and it's very achievable because we learn through repetition. So if you want to create a strong resilient mind, I think for me, one of the things that I learned about creating a strong resilient mind is that you must love yourself, because one of the biggest threats to your resilience. Hello, Asen. Hello, and welcome and join into this conversation. We are talking about reprogramming the mind, and Tene is telling us that 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 is why I am trying to change my mindset and be more resilient. And one of the best ways to be resilient is to really love yourself unconditionally, to really love yourself. And what I noticed myself is that when you start loving yourself and you start creating a new mind, you're going to become successful. At some point, you're going to become very successful. But then there are forces of the world, like jealous people. They will come and they will try to belittle your effort. They will try and they will try to break you down. And at that point is when self-love, loving yourself becomes very important, because to continue on your journey, when somebody is trying to bring you down, you have to choose yourself and continue that and continue that and continue that. Realistically, that's how you move up, right? Because there are people who will try to belittle you when you're moving up, but you keep choosing yourself. What does that mean? That is resilience, building and mounting and mounting and mounting and mounting. That's a mountain of resilience. When you build, when you start loving yourself, you start eating well, working out, reading good books. You start doing well in business, because you're learning about money, you're learning about health, you're learning about relationships, you're elevating. Or at some point, there are people you will meet that will be like, how come she's getting all this? She's just been lucky. They'll think that you're being lucky, but they will not see all this effort that you have been doing. And that's when if you don't love yourself, that that negative mindset can win. But when you choose yourself over and over and over, that's when you start winning in life. And there is understanding that in life you have enemies, you have friends, and you have enemies. You have friends for your destiny, and you have enemies for your destiny. Now, when you love yourself, you're very sure that you're not your own enemy, because yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that you joined this live too, Tene, because it's a very good topic to talk about. When you change your mindset that you love yourself, you become on your own team. You are on your own team, and you have a winning mindset that supports you. So when we don't love ourselves, we might have a mindset that sides with the enemy of our destiny. When they tell us we are good enough, we can just take them, we can just believe them, because we are not on our own side. So the first point of resilience is you have to choose you. You have to choose that you are going to win, and it's you. And if your enemy, and you had to choose between you and your enemy, 100% that you will choose you. Hi, Idot. Love to see you again, lovely. Then you know that you're going to win, right? It's kind of like playing a game, like when we play a video game. You're playing to win. You're playing in that video game, you're playing to be the winner. You're not going to feel sorry, for your enemy, because you know that they're trying to shoot you down too. So you're playing for yourself to win. Now, obviously, there are things that when you're playing a video game that can bring you down. Let's say you got tired, or you've been doing it for too long. You haven't been taking care of yourself. You haven't been eating. You haven't been exercising. You lose focus. You're not able to win the game because you're tired. You didn't drink water. You did not take care of yourself. And you start realizing, hey, for me to win, I need to take care of myself, my health, and my energy. So you start pouring, it's like a garden. You start pouring into yourself because you want to win. And one of the ways that people pour into themselves is words of affirmation. You reprogram your mind with words of affirmation. You tell yourself, I am worthy of life. I am worthy of love simply because I exist. Because especially here in America, if you're living in America, you really have got to love yourself. You have got to love yourself, because in the political climate that we are in, there are people who will tell you you are not worthy of a good life. you know There are people who will tell you, like, because you're a migrant, because you're this, you're this, you're this, you are not worthy of a good life. It's out there in the politics. And now more than ever, I want you to choose yourself. I want you to choose yourself and know that you are worthy of life, you are worthy of love, you are worthy of a peaceful life simply because you exist. And that's it. You know, simply because God put you on this planet and He gave you life, you are worthy of happiness. Do not let this outside noise from enemies of your destiny, of your happiness, sink in, and make you feel that you don't deserve anything. One of the biggest things that Black people in America have had to fight is the prejudice just based on the skin, on the color of their skin, because you have a political system telling them they are worthy of a lower life because of the color of their skin. Now, what I love about Black people in America is they love themselves and they know that they are worthy because they exist, and because they know the Bible, what the Bible says, that God is love, and God cannot build a man in His own likeness and image and for it not to be good and wonderful, because God created man in His own image, and He looked at man and He says it was good. He did a great job, right? And one of the things that I love about the Bible is that it anchors you into solid ground where you develop a more resilient spirit. That no matter what people tell you, you know the words of God, and you know God is love. He's created you in His own image. He's loved you even before you were born. A kind of mindset is the mindset that you want to go out in the day. In this time, or especially if you're living in America, this kind of a mindset, you will need this mindset to win the day, because there are enemies of your destiny. And the Bible says we don't wrestle with flesh and blood, we wrestle with principalities, wickedness in high places. And these are the messages, the subtle messages you will hear from advertising. They are subtle, but they are brainwashing you into not loving yourself. Maybe it's the things that you see on social media. Yeah, I'm from Africa, Tiff. I'm from Africa. I'm from Kenya. You have a lot of mixed messages that you hear from the news, from social media, from your friends at school. You have all these messages that you're receiving, and these messages, they are conditioning you. Those messages, they are brainwashing you. If you don't love yourself, and if you don't even know exactly what it means to love yourself, you can develop low self-esteem very, very quickly. There are people. Yeah, love, Tiffany, subscribe, love. Subscribe, love. There are people, for example, who want to put women down simply because they are women, simply because they are women. So you will see a man probably in his 60s, right? And he's overweight, and he's also, talking like schmuck about women who are in the same age, who have the same weight, and he's like putting them down, like, oh, they grow fat, they are like this, they are like that, they are like that. There are people who are there to attack your self-esteem, your self-image. They are the enemy of your destiny. They are the enemy of your destiny. If you do not love yourself, and guys, like Tiff, let me know what you think about this, what I'm talking about. Guys, contribute, because we learn through sharing. Sharing. I just don't want to do like a whole monologue on my own. I like viewers engaging, and also sharing their own comments and opinions, because that's how we grow. You can say something that can transform me, or something that I didn't even see it that way, from a different point of view, a different perspective. That's why love it, Tiffany. Yeah. So you can see that there are people wanting, and I see this all the time. Especially when it comes to the dating scene and social media. And I see a lot of women being put down because there are men coming in and telling them, oh, you're a 2, you're a 5, you're a 7, you're a 6, you're a whatever. I'm like, I don't even listen to anybody like trying to put a number on me. You know, I live my life like I'm a 10 out of 10. Okay. I live my life like I'm a 10 out of 10. And this is what it means to love yourself. Is like, if God has created you in his own image, in his own likeness, the God of the universe created you in his own image, and he looked at you and he said, wow, this is amazing. I have created man in my own image. You're a 10 out of 10. You're a 10. You know, all these other things, like people trying to tell you that you're a 9, you're a 8, you're a 6, you're a 7, these are just haters. People who are in opposition to your destiny. You should not live your life like you're a 9. You're a 10. It starts with a 10 out of 10, and it stays that way. And this is the mindset when you love yourself, you want to have, because the Bible doesn't even lie to us. It tells us that we have enemies on this planet. The Bible, if God is telling you that you have enemies, you do have enemies. Is that 100,000? I'm like so bad with like reading zeros. I'm a million. I'm a million out of a million, right? You know, I'm a solid, I'm a solid whole. I'm a solid one, a whole, There's no putting me like in fractions. Like, when did I become a fraction? I'm not even a 9 out of 10. It's a solid 10 out of 10, a solid one. Don't let people bring those kinds of mindset. I find that a lot of men who don't want to work so hard on themselves. They don't want to work hard. They don't want to eat well. They don't want to work hard in their career. The only way they can get a good woman is to get a 10 out of 10 and break it down. Break their self-esteem down to a mere, like, so they end up thinking like they are a 2 or a 3, they will start comparing you with somebody like Kim Kardashian or Beyonce. These are men with low self-esteem. When they compare you with another person, you comparing one girl with another girl is comparing apples and oranges. Is really comparing like, oh, do you like an orange or do you like an apple? They taste different. They're different. They are, it's apples and oranges. People are not like that. People are different. People are special. Like we are all like a snowflake. Since time has begun on this planet, there has never been a copy of somebody like you. Like you're a snowflake, right? You're like a snowflake. You are different. We cannot compare you with anything that has ever existed on this planet because you're unique, and nature does not create, copies. It creates uniqueness, nature on its own creates very unique things. Just look at the leaves and the trees. They don't look alike, they don't look alike. Even twins that share even everything, their genes and everything, they are very unique in their personalities, in so many ways, they are very, very unique and different. So you can never be compared to anything. And once you realize that the battle is right here in your mind, the battle is right here. Everybody is trying to get to your mind, whether it's the president asking you to vote for him, whether it's the marketing people asking them to buy the best cream that they have on the market, or whether it's Nike trying to sell you the shoes. Everybody is trying to get to your head because they are trying to get something from you. They have to conquer you right here, or sell you their idea, or sell you something right here in your mind. So when you love yourself, when you love yourself, people don't sell you things easily. People don't sell you their ideas too quickly, because you have a sense of, like, let me evaluate this from whether it's good for me or not. You just don't get people selling you ideas. Tiffany, love, yeah. Welcome. Join us. When somebody is trying to sell you, let's say, like a cream, right? When you love yourself, it's like you have to think about, like, is it too expensive for me, or is it worth for me? Does it go with my skin tone? Does it go with my, how oily my skin is, or how dry my skin is? You evaluate things from how they are benefiting you, right? And they can get to you. So I mean, especially like dating, if you think about women, like our decision to marry somebody and to live with that somebody is going to be one of the most important decisions that we make in our lives. And people can literally make you sick. People have been with narcissists, like a narcissist, right? People saying, oh, I've been married to this guy, he was a narcissist, made me sick. Literally, women get sick, physically sick, when they live with somebody who is a narcissist. And you wonder, how does this woman, intelligent and everything, get with a narcissist? Because she did not love herself. I know. I know you're going to say no to this. I know you're going to say, like, how? Now, the only way you end up with somebody who is treating you badly over and over and over and over is because you don't have an opposing force inside of you saying no, no. And I think one of the biggest links that we women, we have to learn is the word no. N-O. It has to be your favorite word. Like, if you really love yourself as a woman, no has to be your favorite word on the planet. Not yes, no. You begin with no. You begin with your boundaries, I tell people, like, draw a circle. Draw a circle. Inside that circle, write the word safe. As a woman, you have to draw a circle. Inside that word, you write the word safe. Now, the circle represents your boundaries. And inside those boundaries, you're safe. So, for example, if you earn, let's say, you earn five grand a month, right? You earn $5,000 a month, and let's say your expenses are like 4,000, and then you have to save like 500. And somebody came and they told you, "Oh, I'm so desperate. I really need $2,000. Please give me $2,000." Obviously, you know that since your expenses are like $4,000 and they're asking for half of your expenses, you already know that that is not a safe boundary for you. I mean, you can afford to give them like $20, but 2,000, no. So you already know the boundaries. Inside those, like the boundaries, your financial boundary, like the max I can give out for a month is $20. So if you've already given for charity for that month, you've already given out your $20, right? So it means that you don't have anything to give that month. Giving them 2,000 is outside your safety boundaries, because you're only safe within those financial boundaries of giving $20. You choose yourself at that moment, and you're like, I would love to help you, but at this time, I really can't. I'm not able to. Boundaries. Boundaries. When I'm dating right now, and one of the things that I tell guys that want to get me out to a date, I tell them, my boundaries are, I don't kiss on the first date. I do not kiss on the first date. So you're not getting anything from me. You're just taking me out and getting to know me. And if I don't like you, I don't like you. Bye. you know. That's it. And when I go home, I'll decide whether I want to go on a second date or not. But you know, there are all these people who are like energy vampires trying to get affection from you. I was like, no, I am not safe with boundaries of somebody that I don't know trying to kiss me on a first date. Like, hell no. No. I don't know you. I don't know where you've been. You're a stranger. You know, I don't care. Like, just get away from me. Boundaries, you know, boundaries are important for women. We have financial boundaries, sexual boundaries, you know, health boundaries, you know, kind of like you have to put those boundaries. So Tiffany is asking right now, it's like almost 10 a.m. It's 9:49 a.m. in California. Yeah. So one of the reasons why how we grow to love ourselves and we become more resilient and we change and program our mind, we have to change our mind. If you don't change your mind, there is no growth. If there is no growth, then there is no growth, right? But growth starts here in the mind. Something has to change here in the mind for us to see growth manifesting in the physical reality. So, and we also grow with positive emotions. If you read about Dan Siegel, he talks about how we learn through emotions. And one of the things is like a negative experience. You're in South Africa, love. Nice. So it's like you're in South Africa. It's almost 7:50 p.m. You're like a solid like what, 10 hours ahead of us? No, like 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Solid 10 hours. Wow. So Tiffany, let us know, like, how have you seen in South Africa where girls, like areas where women in South Africa need to change their mind, you know, more self-love, show themselves like more self-love. I've noticed that there is no growth without self-love. So much. Tiffany's like, there is so much. There is no growth without self-love. And the growth starts here, right? And one of the things that women have to know when they are growing towards self-love is to say no and put boundaries. If you don't communicate your boundaries with people, they don't know who you are. That's like the biggest thing, right? If people don't know the boundaries, they don't know how to respect you, you know. And I have noticed that some people are just like going to violate your boundaries just to test you. They're like, most people who are abusive, they do that by first testing your boundaries. How much are you going to allow? You know, how much nonsense can you allow? People are always testing you. Men especially, they are always testing women how much they can get away with. That's what I've noticed. Men always test women how much they can get away with. And if you don't realize it's a game and you're being tested and it can end up very dangerous for you, then you can permit everything, you know. So for women, like, you have to think about your boundaries, you know. Yeah, like we have to think about our boundaries. And this is what I mean, right? You write the word safe. You know, you're safe inside your boundaries. Outside the boundaries, you're not safe. So what are the financial boundaries that you're safe in? What are the sexual boundaries that you're safe in? You know, because for you to love yourself, you have got to be safe. You know, you need to be safe for you to love. For you, safety is a key thing. Like, we need to create safety in our life so that we can love, we are able to thrive and grow and make moves in our lives, right? So inside these boundaries, you're safe. Outside these boundaries, you're not safe. So for most women, these things are just normal. Like these things are kind of like, they are no brainer. You know, you going to bed, yeah. Tiffany, if you're going to bed, that's nice. So for most women, like we need financial boundaries, relationship boundaries, we need boundaries with our families, with our family members, you know. uh Women, we give birth to children, we take care of children, we are natural. So sexual boundaries are very, very important to have for any girl to develop good self-esteem. And how you keep these boundaries is by talking. You know, we talk a lot. For women, we do talk a lot, but I think most women who are not very, very resilient is because they talk a lot, but they're not communicating their boundaries. You know, they talk a lot, but you're not communicating your boundaries, and therefore you're not safe. And I think this is the thing that we need to teach women. uh, men are never intimidated about saying no, about saying I don't want that, change that, do this, right? And a lot of women, we fear that, we'll be labeled the B word. No, she's a bitch. You better be comfortable with the B word. you know it's being in total control. Somebody says, like, the word bitch means somebody in total control of their life. It's, you have to become in total control of your life, communicating good boundaries. That is that is the number one sign you see, like resilience. We see that the resilience, and second, we see that self-love. Somebody able to draw boundaries. Boundaries are a sense of self-love, resilience, and growing. Uh, um, and that is how we change your mind. Like that's exactly how we change our mind. For example, now that we know about boundaries, and you start practicing boundaries, that's how we learn, and that's how we grow, kind of like change. We start changing the mind. It's all about, it's all about what you know. It's all about like what you know and what you practice. So let me know what you think about this topic, about changing your mind. Changing your mind to where that you love yourself more, you create more boundaries that keep you safe. And once you start feeling safe, for women, like the biggest thing that we want in our lives is that sense of safety. And once we start feeling safe, we move away from survival mindset. We move away from just feeling like we are surviving. We start thriving. We start being more happy. And when a woman is happy, joyful, she attracts a lot of like good things in her life. I mean, you've seen yourself probably when you're joyful and you're happy, and when you feel safe, right? It starts with being safe. For women, like, it starts with us feeling safe. And the only way that we feel safe is to create safety in our life, around our friendships, being around safe friends, people who we know that they are. Most safe friends may sound boring, but they are very safe. Being around people who are safe, being around saying no, saying no. It's all the same. It's all the same. But this is what activates the new mind. When you feel safe, you start activating the new mind. When you don't feel safe, you activate the survival mindset. So for us, we have to start feeling safe. Like, safety is number one. I'd say for women who want to change, they have to learn boundaries. They have to learn boundaries, but not just boundaries they have to learn the boundaries that keep them safe. The boundaries that keep them safe. I mean, we have boundaries for women. The other thing that I found that helps women is self-care. You know, okay, it's enough to put boundaries that keep you safe. But another way to show yourself that you love yourself is showing that you care for yourself. Like doing things that are self-care. And I'd say like one of my friends, you know, and you've met her, Shy, she's very good with self-care. Like very good with self-care. I just like admire the way she kind of takes care of her hair, her nails, you know, just stuff. Like she does little things taking care of herself that says like, this girl really loves herself. She kind of loves it. She enjoys makeup. She enjoys dressing up. She just, you can tell that she loves herself. And that is like self-care is really good for women. Then we have finances. Girl, I like women with traditional financial values. Women need to know about finances. It's not even complicated. Once you start learning about it, it just becomes easier and easier and easier. But women need to educate themselves more about finances, especially like here in the US, I meet a lot of women who don't even know how the financial system works. They don't know where to go buy bonds and stocks, you know. Like go open a stock market account, start buying stocks, bonds, you know. Get a book like the Little Red Book of Investing, Check to Monday, you know, living below your means. For me, like things like living below your means so that you can save and create a safety net for your finances is like one of the most solid financial advices that people can have. You know, you make money, instead of using it all, you save 10% of it. Like you take 10% of what you earn, and instead of giving it to your pastor, instead of giving it to charity, you save it for yourself in the future. Sounds like solid advice to me for women, you know, especially instead of always helping your friends out when they are broke. Take that 10%, save it for yourself in the future. Create financial stability for yourself so that you live in a more calm mindset, so that you're more calm. That is a sign of self-love. Financial stability for women. You know, you go out there, you make money. Don't use all your money on the latest handbag, the latest shoe, the latest I don't know what, right? Take 10% of that money. Put it for yourself in the future. Create a financial safety net so that, you know, you're not dying of high blood pressure, wondering where the next meal is going to come from, because you save 10%. A lot of women, they get money and 10% they take it to their pastor. Your pastor will take that 10% of that money and save it for himself. And you're there not having a safety net. He has taken your money. Your money is now his safety net. Right? Women, we need to take care of ourselves financially. Financially. You know, that means you can fire people. You are the manager, you're the boss of your own money. One of the things that I learned about being the boss of my own money as a woman is that I can fire you. I can fire you if you're Starbucks and I need that $5 to pay for my gas. It says, I will not get that coffee, I'll get gas. You know, I will look at myself and my money as a boss, and I'll be like, you're Walmart, why do you want my money? I'm the boss. You want my 2 cents? What do you have to offer? And if it's not something that I need, then I don't need to go to another trip to Walmart. You're fired. You're fired. You know, become like Trump. Become like Trump. Tell people you're fired, you know. If you don't have enough money, there are people that you can tell you're fired. You can tell You know, that pastor that wants your 10% of money, you're fired. You can tell Starbucks, well, you're fired. And then all of a sudden, you have a little more money to meet your bills. But you first pay yourself, you put money for your future, 10%, and then you pay your bills. And if your bills are not, hi SR, today we are talking about like creating a winning mindset. I went on and on. We talked about boundaries as a sense of self-love. We talked about self-care for women. We need to like learning how to care for ourselves, you know, whether it's working out, drinking water, stuff like that. And now we are talking about finances. How we women, we need to be safe financially. As a woman, if you love yourself and you want to stay calm and you want a thriving mindset financially, we need to take care of ourselves. And right now we are just going through about how you can make sure that you are financially set as a woman. So the first thing that we said, you get money. Whether somebody gave you money, whether you worked for that money, somehow you received $10. Let's say you received like $100. You must take $10, 10% for yourself. A lot of women take 10% of their money to their pastor, to their parents, to people. No, take that money is for yourself and your future. And the first thing you do when you ever receive money from now on, you take 10% of whatever money you have and you put it in a safety net for yourself. You either invest it, you know, in the stock market, or I like the stock market because when money is in the stock market, anybody asking me for money, I tell them I don't have money because I don't have it. Because my future money is not for anybody. So you take 10%. 10%. Asante sana, nakupenda tene. Nice, yeah. You take 10% of whatever money that you have and you put it for yourself. I don't care. You went outside, somebody gave you $5, figure out what's 10% of $5. Take that 5%, put it yourself for your future. Always, the first person you pay is yourself. You remember the people say, always pay yourself first? What they mean is you get money and the first 10%, you take it for yourself for your future. You're putting it away for your future. And then you pay your bills. You start paying your bills. After you pay yourself, you start thinking about other people. Okay? You start paying your bills. Now, if you're thinking like, okay, I already paid myself, I'm paying my bills and my bills is not enough, you know, like what do? You start cutting out luxury items like Starbucks or going out to eat a meal. You start cutting out the luxury items if you're not meeting your bills, right? You start firing people because you are the boss. You are the boss of your money. And, you know, you can decide, sorry, shoemaker, I'm not gonna pay you today. Sorry, Starbucks, I'm not gonna pay you today. Sorry, whoever, you know, you can decide who you're not going to pay and who you're not going to pay. Pretty much, right? But the first person you pay, you always know that you have money in the future. And, you know, the people that you owe money, you know, you can negotiate with them next time or in the future, or, you know, but always have your own safety net. Tene says, give this video a like. Love you, love you, love you, love you. So for women, our financial future is the best thing that, first of all, we can always think about. Kind of creating a safety financial net for ourselves, because, you know, sometimes things, you know, you can lose a job. You can lose a job. Like, I left my job because it was very stressful, you know. But I was lucky because I had created a safety net for myself. Now, if I had not created a safety net for myself, if I had been giving all my money, I'd be homeless right now, right? I'd be homeless. But it's because I had created a safety net for myself, and I was able to get out of a very like dangerous psychologically, physically, like very troublesome problem. Yes, a lot of money, a lot of problems can be caused due to money. That is why not using up all your money is going to help you become financially secure very quickly. So whenever you get like $100, make sure you're taking $10 and putting it away for the future. That money, you're not using it. That money is like sacred. You're not using it at all. Another thing that I learned that was bad for me, like, okay, I wanted to switch a career and I wanted to become more financially independent and switch a career, something that I love. But I realized some economies, after some age, after you get to the age of 25 going up, changing careers can be very difficult because you have bills, you have things going on, right? So you have to be able to balance like your new goals and your job, and still do those two things at the same time. Have Do a job and create more goals, at the same time. Don't be tempted to be like what I did. Jump off the ship, be like, okay, I'm going to try a new venture. I'm a fly like a bird. Sometimes it can destabilize you some way. Obviously, you're still going to make it in the end, but it can put you in a state of survival, which you don't want to be in. So I came here to the US and I came from Kenya, had already studied international studies. So I had studied like politics, and how nations relate with each other. And then I came here, I studied business. I studied international business, just an MBA. I did a master's in business. Then I started working with HR. And I was working with HR. I started reading books, like books from great like teachers like Marshall Rosenberg, mental health. And I realized that I think the first thing that anybody needs to learn about life is to understand their mental health. And once you understand your mental health, you can unlock any door in life. Just once you understand mental health, you can unlock any door in life. And mental health is what is going inside of you, but what is going inside of you is affected also by what's going on outside of you. It's kind of like when we have a lung, right? We have lungs that are good, they help us with oxygen, but our one half of the lung is in our body, but the other lung is outside of our body. Because if we live in a planet that doesn't have oxygen, our lungs are no use, right? So we are living in this environment where our mental health is being impacted by the world around us. But the thing, when we realize that we also can impact the world around us, that we also are powerful enough to impact the world around us, is not just like pressure coming at us, we can also put pressure back. That's when we start rethinking our mindset, right? And so for me, I spent like the last 10 years understanding mental health, the human body, the mind, how things work. So silence is key. It's it all depends, right? Everything is perspective. There's always perspective, right? There is always perspective. I think there is unrefutable wisdom when it comes to using silence in situations. There is irrefutable evidence that sometimes just being quiet in a situation can help, but sometimes talking about a problem can really, really help. That's why we need therapy and talking and sharing. So it all depends. Sometimes silence is good, sometimes not always, silence, like let's say somebody was being bullied and we all kept quiet. We are all complicit in a way, because at that point silence is being used yeah, at that point, silence can be used in a negative way. But there are things, sometimes you want to criticize somebody, but then you hold back because you think, if I criticize them, they might take it the wrong way, or they might not, they might have low self-esteem after that. So sometimes we hold our silence. That is an example when silence is golden, you know. Another time, like, I see that women use silence is when women want to leave a relationship with a narcissist. You know, they don't go like, oh, I'm gonna leave you tomorrow, you know, I'll pick up everything and I'll go. No, they'll be very silent, they'll be very calculating, they'll get a new place, they'll put stuff there, and then they'll quickly move out without any drama. And that's a good place to be silent when you're making those calculated moves, because you never know, somebody could harm you when you're making that kind of a move. That kind of a point is like, silence there is golden, because you realize that talking can put you in jeopardy. So you realize, I'll make my plans very silently and get out of this abusive relationship. Silence is wisdom, but it needs to be used appropriately. You know, let's say somebody is plotting to kill somebody, you can, and you realize your silence will be complicit, you will have to warn them. You know, silence is good. Silence can be also a weapon. I mean, when it comes to money, obviously it's nice to hide your moves. You don't want to tell everybody on the internet, oh, but we see it all on the internet all the time. Other people telling us, oh, I'm a millionaire, I made 10 million, I made this money doing this. Some of these people who are millionaires, they are not really millionaires. They have a house and they have a mortgage, and that house is worth $1 million, but they're still paying mortgage on that house. If they're able to pay that mortgage, obviously they will be millionaires. But they claim they are millionaires. And if you are to ask them, they'll say, well, I was manifesting. It's part of manifesting. You have to say you're a millionaire to be a millionaire, which is totally okay. But it can be deceiving to other people who are there thinking, how come all these people are being millionaires and I'm not? You know, I think the real millionaires, they don't even talk about it. You know, like, if you're a true millionaire, you don't really talk about it on the internet. That's where I see, like, you know, again, charade, right? Silence there being golden. But we learn through exchange of knowledge. We learn through exchange of information. So learning, you know, talking, also sharing is a big part of why we move forward in life. We are moving forward in life. So learning to love yourself is a big thing. And I have seen that even in states, like when I was in a political class, we were learning about different states and how they behave. And there was this running theme that states are very selfish. They are very selfish. So like the US as a country is very selfish. And I would say the same thing if you took another country like China, it's also very selfish. Those states, they will act according to their own best interests. They really want to work for what's good for the country, not what's good for the outsiders outside the country, which is a healthy mindset. If you think about, even with people, we need to act about what is healthy for us, not really caring about, you know, first of all, you have to care about what is healthy for you, because you live in your own body. You live with yourself all the time. So there is always a fine balance, because people will normally choose themselves first, normally selfish. And obviously society is always trying to break us down, especially telling us to love more, which you find is also in the teachings of the gospel, to love more, to love more, to love more. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you giving, because you want to live in a state of abundance. It's good for you to live in a state of abundance than hoarding. and not feeling abandoned. But it's also good to be calculating. It's also to be calculating in your move. You can't go and set up your finances for failure and give up all your money and have no safety net. You need to be a giving person with your families, with your friends, so that they can also help you in times of need. And when you need them, but you also need to create financial safety, especially for women. It can be very dangerous for a woman to not create financial safety for themselves. This is all about loving yourself. Take care of your body. Self-care is good. Finances is good. Creating healthy boundaries with people. It's all that we do. Sharat, what do you think? What do you think about those kind of boundaries that we've been talking about? Now, I think I've talked a lot, and I don't like talking a lot by myself. I like you guys to contribute or ask a question. Ask questions, So self-love, I think the best thing that you can do with Sharat, you're saying 100, yeah. What was that? 100, is that 100%? What's that? Yeah, so loving ourselves is a lot of things, but the only way you have a winning mindset is by loving yourself. And we've talked about some ways that you can train your brain to love itself is by creating good boundaries. Gold words, yes. Yeah. So creating good boundaries is one way to show that you love yourself. Self-care, eating well, doing exercises, even buying yourself nice clothes, or doing small little things, small little favors for yourself, kind of training your mind to love itself. You have to train your mind to even love yourself. Your mind cannot just wake up one day and just love you. Our mind learns through learning. Like, you have to teach it to love yourself. What does it mean to love myself? You have to teach your mind, and then you practice that, and then it will learn, just like it learns everything else, and then it becomes very good with loving itself. Yeah. And also love other people. The thing is, if you don't love yourself, you cannot love another person, because you cannot give somebody something you don't have, right? You can't, if you don't love yourself, you can't love another person, because you don't have the concept of what it is to love. We can only give what we have, and if you don't have love, you cannot give love. When you love yourself, you respect yourself, and that respect for yourself will help you understand when somebody else is being disrespected, and then you can draw the boundary. Just because you learned it from yourself, like who you are. There has been numerous studies by scientists, and they show that practices like yoga, or even taking care of your body, working out, taking care of your body, makes you go inside and kind of like get in touch with yourself, your body, your inner self, and it helps you love yourself more. And when you love yourself more, you are able to be more compassionate with other people. Tene says, "Oh, we love you since you're motivating us." Yes, love that, Tene. But just a question: when you say that you don't love yourself, how can you love others? But what about people like monks? They take care more about others than themselves. Well, if you see that they seem to take care of others more than themselves, is because they have a capability of doing it. Otherwise, they would not be able to do it. When Because they have that sense of self-love and they have that sense of self-caring for themselves, they are very compassionate with themselves and they are very forgiving with themselves. They are very understanding with themselves. They are very kind to themselves. And because they are very kind with their inner being, they go inside, they are meditating. Monks, they meditate a lot. And they did a brain scan of monks who have been meditating for like 10,000 hours. And what they saw is that for most people, for most people, most people like who don't meditate, they have brain waves that are like this. Their brain waves, they are like that, right? They are like very stressful, aggressive brain waves. And for monks, they had brain waves like this. They had brain waves like that. Their brain waves, the monk, their brain waves were very fast and they were also very calm. And most people, they have very slow brain waves that are like this. And the monks are like very slow gamma waves. The best gamma waves, the best brain waves you can get is gamma waves. So the monks, they are very calm on every day. They have the same problems that we have, but they are very calm because they have trained their mind and their body to remain calm through so many hours of meditation. So they are being able to give others the same care and compassion because they have trained themselves to be calm, and they are more compassionate within themselves and outside of themselves. So essentially, they are not giving you something they don't have. They are able to give themselves that, and because they are so good at it, they are able to bless us with their love and compassion. But they trained their mind to be that way through hours and hours of meditation, just remaining in silence, in quietude. They trained their body to remain calm at all times. So they are able to do that, to remain calm at all times, because they we learn through repetition. They've done it for over 10,000 hours. They've done that for over 8 years. You know, Shara says, I don't know. I kind of, I notice I smile, I walk away. I don't understand. Sharat, I don't understand what you're saying. I just don't get it. Um, anyway, yeah, that's kind of like Tene, they are able to do that because they have trained their mind. And if you wanted to know that calmness is power. Being calm, the ability to remain calm is power. But you can teach your mind to be calm, because you can teach your brain anything. You can teach your brain to be calm. And there are so many traditions that help. There are so many things that we do. Hi Halima, love you girl. So right now we are talking on the topic of training your brain to be calm. One of the things that we can do. Okay, if you think about the things that put the body there, your brain will be in two states, either in homeostasis or balance, or in stress mode, which we call survival mode. When the brain is in survival mode, it wants to fight, maybe you're like, the finances are not going well, the relationship is not going well, work is not going well. The brain can be in survival mode, but you can still train your body and your mind, even when the situations are not going well, to remain calm. So your body necessarily doesn't have to be affected by situations outside, and it's when we remain calm, that's when we have power. Power comes from remaining calm. And And you see this repeated over and over, even in the scriptures, where the Bible says, like, a good leader seeks out peace, is known for because he's a man of peace, and a bad leader is known because he is a man of chaos. So we know that we can remain peaceful. We don't have to be chaotic in life, even depending on our situation and our circumstances. We can still try to find some inner peace within us, but we have all the power because we are the ones impacting the world. The world is not impacting us. We have all the power because you can control what's going on here, even if you don't control what's going on out there. So Halima, tell us, how are you controlling your world? How are you controlling your world so that what is happening out there is not just impacting you, and you're like, oh my goodness, that you're also impacting the world, that you're also on the driver's seat, right? Impacting the world. You have control of your thoughts and your actions, right? For example, you can decide, I feel very stressful right now, let me go exercise, let me go do a meditation, let me take control of my nervous system and take it out of a stressful situation and calm it down through exercise, through through exercise or through meditation. Or you can decide, I feel so stressed out right now, let me call a friend so that we can talk about the situation, or you call a therapist and you talk about the situation. It doesn't have to defeat you. You can talk about, you can talk about it. And this is like when we have a problem, like what we when we have a problem, there are things that we can do, but also we can create things. We can create opportunities in our lives. We can create, like one of the things that I learned is the power of calling people. If you are broke, you can call somebody. You can, if you're looking for a job, call, have numbers to call. Do you know something I can do? Have you heard of a job? Is there a job? Is your company hiring? What can I do for you guys? Like there's life happening to us, but there's also how we choose to react. And that kind of is very powerful. But the reason why we are not able to react the way that we want, the reason why we are not able to think the way that we want, is because we are in a state of survival or in a state of stress. That's why here, especially, like all the doctors that are talking about everything, they're talking about stress. Why stress is bad, stress is bad, stress. The thing is, what they're not talking to us is, how do you get away from a stressful state of mind? First of all, eating right. Try to eat nutritious food, because when the body is well nourished, when you eat nutritious food, you tell the cells in your body that they are not in survival. So I see here in America, a lot of people eat pizza, they eat burger, they eat all this bread, and bread is not nutritious at all. There are no nutrients in the bread. So what happens is, people still are tired, they're fatigued. Why? They ate, but they didn't eat any food that has nutritional value, because bread does not have nutritional value. So they're still starving. Yes, they are full, their stomach is full, they ate food, but the cells in their body, they did not get nutrients. So when the cells in the body are starving, they are under stress, because you're making them work hard and they are not eating well. They don't have nutrition, but you're making them work hard, but you're not giving them nutrition. That is why eating like things like even raw food like carrots, tomatoes, eating nutritious food will give your body nutrients, and it will stop thinking that it's in a survival mode, in a stress mode. So one of the ways to avoid stress is to eat healthy. Don't eat the American standard diet, the burger, the pizza, the Coke, Coca-Cola, these like foods that are not good for your cells, because that will put your cells in survival mode. and survival mode is stress mode, and stress mode is what like really messes somebody's life. So eating nutritious food is one of the things. And nutritious food, over and over and over, nutritious food is the least expensive food. First of all, if you eat nutritious food, you're not going to go to hospital because you're sick, because food is going to take care of yourself. And traditional food, the food that your grandmother ate, your great-great-grandmother ate, you know, that kind of food is the food of the gods. Traditional food, like the food that your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother ate, that's the food that is nutritious. That's the food that your cells want. So you don't need to go look for expensive food. No, just the normal traditional food that your grandparents used to eat. That's the need. That's what the body needs. You know, you don't need pizza, you don't need burgers, you don't need sodas. Just go for the yams, the sweet potatoes, the kale. You know, eating well is really like the cheapest way, because you nourish yourself, and then you don't get sick. So you never waste money on doctors or not feeling well. So eating well will tell your nervous system that you're doing okay. So you will not be in survival. Exercise takes out stress chemicals out of your body. That's a good way. Having good friends also helps you calm down, because your friends, even when you're going through a hard time, they are going to help you feel like life is still okay. So again, we can see very, very easy ways to remove yourself from a stressful situation. Eat well, exercise. So tips, Tene is asking about some tips on how to be satisfied in life. One of the ways that you can be satisfied in life is, do not compare your life with anybody's life. Is the quickest way to be happy with yourself. You know, because the world is full of, like, especially social media right now, a lot of people are putting out a fake lifestyle out there. Like they want to show, they're social media influencers, but they want to show that they have all these beautiful clothes, this beautiful lifestyle. Most of that is fake. Most of us is like, you know, they're just people, normal people like you and me, but they are faking that lifestyle. So when we compare ourselves with people, it's the quickest way for us to not feel happy with life. Yeah, social media is 100%, you know, comparison, jealousy, you know, and then you end up feeling like, oh wow, I used to be in school with this person, they're married, they have kids, they have this beautiful life, they look great. And when you compare yourself, you're like, oh my God, I feel like a loser, I feel like a failure, like I haven't achieved anything. You know, it's easy for me to go like, I haven't achieved anything. I'm not married. I don't have a real job. I don't have a big house. You know, it's kind of easy to go like, you know, like compare yourself with other people and not realize that you're making yourself sad. You're making yourself stressed for nothing, because most of those people are faking their lifestyle anyway. You know, and you still don't know where your blessings and where God is going to take your life, you know. So first of all, if you want to be happy, just don't compare yourself with anybody. You know, you're where you are in life, and when you are okay with where you are in life and say, you know what, I'm not gonna be very hard on myself. I'm just going to be nice and kind with myself. I'm just going to accept, you know, that this is where I am. Yeah, and realize this is where I am. The other thing that you can do is, and I'll get back to you, Tene, on that aunt thing. I'll tell you what's the problem. Another thing that you can do is to be grateful. Be grateful with what you have. You know, we all have dreams, we all have big things that we want, right? But being grateful for, oh my God, I am breathing oxygen today. I'm not, like there are people who have problems even just breathing because they are sick, they are in hospital bed, they're doing worse off. There's somebody who is in pain right now. There's somebody who has gone through a great loss. Maybe they've lost somebody they care for. There's so many things that are happening in the world. And once you realize, like, okay, let me just count my blessings. There's that song that says, like, I've got so many blessings that I can't even count them all. You start counting your blessings. I'm alive. I have good health. I have a roof over my head. I have some food. I have water. I have some clothes. I have family. I have friends. You start thinking about the things that you're grateful for. And that gratitude, when you're grateful, life wants to add more to you. When you're grateful, life wants to add more to you. So you start becoming like more happy. So you're saying that you have an aunt and she has so many things, but is always desires more. In Buddhism, they call that the hungry ghost. It's like, have you ever seen people who are gluttonous? Like they eat food, but they can't seem to get enough. It's like there's a hungry ghost and it wants more and more and desires more and more and more and more and more. I think for such a person, they can learn to give. If they understand they have more and now they start giving, they start with giving. If they are too gluttonous, then they can start just giving, because that's the opposite of being like hoarding, being this hungry ghost. And then if they start giving, they start changing their mind from being somebody who takes to somebody who gives. Then they can change their mind, but there has to be an intention. They have to be very intentional that they realize they have a problem and they want to change their nature, because their nature is to want more and more and more. They can have the opposite nature of giving, being generous, being philanthropic. They can do that. But ultimately, they have to do it themselves. They have to want to change. You cannot change anybody. You cannot change anybody. So they must see this for themselves and be like, I want to change. They can be more generous if they're struggling with, just wanting more. Giving, being a giver can help somebody who is greedy to change his nature. And he said, now let me take you an example. In the poorest country like Central African Republic, how can people stay happy and satisfied? I cannot imagine the pain from their perspective, but that is your perspective. Like your perspective is that you cannot imagine somebody who is living in a poor country being happy. But I can tell you, can you imagine somebody who is in America being unhappy? Can you imagine people in America being unhappy? Because all the research has shown that people here in America are not happier than people in the Central African Republic. People in America with all the money and all their wealth, according to the happiness radar, they are not more happier than people living in places like Africa, where the people are poor. Why? Because to be happy as a human being is tricky business. First of all, you need friends. When you have friends, you will be happy. Now, here in America, the number one problem is loneliness. People do not have a sense of community here in America. So you see, like people in Central in African Republic, yes, they are poor, but they also have a sense of community. So they don't get anxious as quickly as somebody who is here in America struggling by themselves with the bills, without a sense of family, a sense of interconnectedness, because it's the nervous system. Our nervous system works very similarly, you know. Um, like rich people are not happier. Like Elon Musk, for example, he's on this drug called ketamine. And ketamine is a drug that is usually used to treat like depression and like things like ADHD. So it means that somehow he has also a health problem that he is struggling with, despite having all this money, right? He still is not happy. Now, somebody like Elon Musk, no, I don't mind your questions. I actually love your questions. I love them. So somebody like Elon Musk, he could benefit a lot from taking time off, going into an island, resting, not worrying about things, like helping to train his nervous system. I mean, he has the money, he has the time, but he chooses not to do that. He chooses not to do that. He says like he can work 80 hours a week and not sleep very much. And we know that that's not good for the human body, you know. So it doesn't matter if you have a lot of money and you're still not respecting the body and the things that it needs. It doesn't matter. You could be respecting your body and you're in the DRC. You have friends, because we like our nervous system. It likes friends. It likes it likes laughter. Like our body likes to laugh. It likes to eat good food. You can get good food in the DRC. You can get good friends. You can, because they probably don't have a lot of computers. It means that they use a lot of muscles to do everyday like vigorous work activity. The body loves that. The body loves that. And then they're out there doing that in the sun. So they are getting vitamin D, which is vital for happiness. So now you see, like you could be anywhere in the world and you can create your own little paradise, because you understand what it means for the body to be happy. We usually just need good food, friends, and we need to move the body. You know, all these other things, these are just like bonus, you know. And our modern world is taking us away from sunlight, because you're stuck in a cubicle or in an office every day. You're stuck sitting down, you're not moving the body. So all the stress chemicals are staying in the body and affecting the heart. This is how our modern society is actually ruining our happiness. And then it's isolating us, because we are all on the internet, very lonely, isolated, and the human body needs connection. We need that sense of society. We thrived from tribes. We came from tribes. So we need that kind of sense of society, sense of community, because when we are in groups, we do things that are positive. We do things like sharing. We care for one another. We do all these things that make us feel like we are connected and bonded. And it's that kind of love that helps you calm down your nervous system, helps you become less stressful, and help you live a good life. Now, when you know that, you can engineer your life where you have supportive environment, whether it's your friends, family. That's why we teach in spirituality things like forgiveness and giving, because the more you practice these positive emotions with people, you will get a good solid network of friends, and we all need friends to stay calm. For our nervous system to stay calm, we need good friendship and nourishing relationships. There's a lot of so many social media people out there telling people, oh, you go do it alone, you can do it all alone, you don't need friends. You need friends, and you need supportive environment. So you must be good at making good friends with the right kind of characters, the right kind of people. Because as a human being, loneliness can kill you faster than anything else. We are wired to live in a group, in societies, in groups, right? Our society is giving us, especially here in America, it's a very individualistic society, and it's affecting a lot of people's mental health because everybody is telling people to go out and do life by themselves. That's a lie from the pits of hell. Everything that I have read in science, in mental health, everything says you're not an island. Look for supportive relationships. That's why it's nice to be nurturing, caring, kind, loving, because these are the qualities that help you thrive when it comes to relationships. And you need to thrive to be in relationships. When you're in relationships, you also need to be smart, because you can't be too giving, too permissive. You also have to have your own boundaries, but these boundaries are meant to help you thrive in relationships. They're not meant to alienate relationships. These boundaries are there to help you become a master of creating good relationships that are actually beneficial to you. Um, so can you make good relationships on any part of the world? Yes. Are some parts of the world harder, more difficult to make relationships? Yes. Especially in the West, it's very hard to make relationships, especially if you're moving, like somebody like me moving to a new community, a new society. And the American society is more like a closed society. So they, if you even watch the news, they are not very permissive of outsiders. They are not very trusting of people from the outside. So kind of like breaking in into that kind of a society, it can be also very difficult. So that's one thing. You can be poor, but you can also have good relationships. That means you will be happy, because if you have good relationships, you can laugh. People can laugh, can make you laugh. People can help you out when you have problems. You can still be happy. But you can also be very unhappy when you have in a developed society and you don't have any friends. You're lonely, and loneliness kills. Is a very stressful thing to go through. So I don't know, am I answering your questions very well? Can you now start to see why somebody can live in the DRC and still be happy, and somebody can live in a developed world and still not be happy? Can you now start to see that because of mental health? You know, um, it's, for example, let's say you have, this probably will help you understand. Let's say you have two children, right? You have two kids. One kid is from a rich family and one kid is from a poor family. So the rich kid from a poor family never gets to see their parents, because the parents, they are busy doing all the busy work, the government stuff, the business stuff, right? So the rich kid doesn't see the parents. The parents are out there doing a lot of things, right? But the parents, they buy the kid presents like teddy bears, they buy them shoes, they buy them a lot of things. So the rich kid has a lot of stuff, but they are lonely because they can't talk to the teddy bear. They can only hug the teddy bear. Yes, they can wear the shoes, but they never see their parents. But the poor kid sees the parent all the time. Okay, they don't get the teddy bears and the nice clothes and everything, but the parents is there to protect them, to help them with homework, to tell them nice stories, to make them laugh. When they cry, the parent is there to hug them. The parent is there to give them like a supportive, encourage them through hard times. What kid do you think is happy? What kid do you think is happy? Do you think is the rich kid, or the poor kid? Which one is happy? So Now, if you think that the rich kid is happier, that's not really, because we are happier with thriving relationships. That's what really makes us happy. So can you make any thriving relationships or any part of the world? Yes. Even if you're bad with relationships, you can start teaching yourself to be good in relationships, to be kind, to be happy, to make other people feel encouraged, happy, kind, to be sharing, giving. You can practice those values and you can bring more happiness in your life. So this is what science is telling us right now. Materialism cannot make you happy. And this is what spiritual texts have always told us, that materialism cannot make us happy. It cannot make a human being happy. It's things like singing, a sense of community, interconnectedness. Now, do you see that? Do you see kind of like what I mean? So, uh, so you can see how rich people can be unhappy and how poor people can be happy. It's a puzzle. It's a puzzle, but if you think about, like, people can get sick from just, they did a study and they saw that the kids that were left in hospital, like infants who are in a hospital and maybe their parents passed, or and nobody was there for them, those infants, if nobody was hugging them and cuddling them like a small baby, if you don't hug it and cuddle, we do it so easy to babies. We are always cuddling them, helping them out. If you don't do that to the baby will die. A baby will die if you don't cuddle it, if you don't sing lullabies to it, if you don't soothe it. A baby will die. And you would be giving it food. If you give a baby food, water, but you're not cuddling and being sweet and nice to the baby, it will give up the fight for life. It will be like, I'd rather not be here. The baby will die if you don't love it. And when you realize that is what makes us happy, nothing else, not so much money, not so much so many things, is that bonding, like good bonding relationships. Those are actually what makes us thrive. Those are what makes us happy. So you want good mental health? I want to challenge you to start creating good relationships as the number one goal. Number one goal, you want to have supportive, nurturing relationships. The only way that you can attract supporting, nurturing relationships that are good for you is, first, you love yourself. You better love yourself first. You better love yourself first, because that's the only way you attract more love. Now, I gotta go because my landlord is coming to fix this heater right here, because this heater right there is broken, and he just came and he's right there outside. I can see his car. So I have to go, but hit the subscribe button, like this video, and we'll continue talking about this until we dial it in, until it's all dialed in. So I was happy seeing you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Love you. Bye.